You've got someone that you've had a whole lot of really amazing conversations with who really wants to talk to you, but they're holding back. And the reason might surprise you. The overall energy for this reading is the Page of Swords and the Page of Pentacles reversed. So, the Page of Swords indicates a real intellectual curiosity and intellectual connection, right? I think the two of you, when you get together and you talk, I mean, you have some amazing conversations. Like, the conversation goes all over the place, and you guys connect so well on an intellectual level. Also, Page of Swords is an indication that this person continually wants to talk to you. Like, they just always have like this youthful, like, man, I really wish I could talk to so and so, kind of energy about them. They probably keep an eye on you with Page of Swords. So, the modern meaning of this card is that, they're probably watching your social media if you have social media, or they're keeping tabs on you some way, maybe just through like friends and things like that. But the Page of Pentacles reversed indicates a lack of commitment. This is someone who gets bored very easily. There's a lot of Aries energy in this reading, so they might be an Aries, but it doesn't have to be. But this is someone who, they don't like the mundane. They don't like the day-to-day, the day in, the day out. And so they tend to be kind of flaky with Page of Pentacles reversed. And both of these energies, for the overall energy being pages are very youthful energy. So this might be someone younger than you. It doesn't have to be, though. But it's definitely someone who has a very youthful spirit. It's someone who wants to be very free, very independent, and they don't like the feeling of being locked down or locked in any way, shape, or form. And if they feel like responsibility sort of starting to weigh on them, they tend to kind of dip. And this really, though, isn't like a reflection on you or on anyone else. This seems to be coming from an internal source. So we start this reading with the Ace of Cups. There's a lot of love here when we see the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is the seed of love being planted and just being waiting in the dirt to be nourished. And you can see how that cup is overflowing. I think this person really, they love you just more than you can even imagine. But the issue with Ace of Cups is that it is just a seed that's been planted. It is very young energy yet again, right? They're overflowing with love for you, but I don't think it makes it to like the full expression. And it's because they're holding themselves back. Let me show you what we got in the current energy. So in the current energy, we have the Sun reversed, as well as the Emperor reversed. So the Sun is like the happiest card in the deck, right? It's joy, it's bliss, it's just feeling excited about life. In the reverse, though, we're like delaying our happiness. And I feel like that's what this person does. They're delaying their own happiness. And it's because they're in the energy of Emperor reversed. So that's that Aries energy. But in the reverse, so the Emperor is divine masculine, like great energy, upright. It's someone who can like conquer worlds. They know what they want. They go after what they want. They're like really intelligent, very logical, very strategic. Just excellent. Exactly what you think of when you think of like an ideal man, okay? But in the reverse, this is someone who's very insecure. And they can be really, really controlling because of that insecurity. And they delay their own happiness because they don't feel confident. They don't see, I think, all the potential that you see in them. They can't really see it for themselves. And so instead they get kind of stuck in these patterns of just misery and muck, rather than pursuing what really makes them happy. And I think a lot of what makes them happy is actually you. I think you may bring a lot of joy, a lot of love, a lot of compassion, and a lot of like intellectual stimulation to this person. But because they've got this issue where they do not like being tied down, they do not like the idea of being responsible for something. I think because too much may have been put on them in their youth. This might have been someone who is parentified as a child because of the loss of a parent due to divorce, or maybe the parent died when they were young. But basically, they are someone who kind of took on that parental role. So if this is a man or a masculine energy, it could be that the father died or the father left the family, and so then they had to almost take on the father-like role in the household and kind of be that for their mother, and maybe be that for younger siblings too, kind of helping guide them. You know, maybe they had a father who was like, you know, if he was around, he was just very immature. So in adulthood, it's kind of like they swore to themselves, like, never again. I'm not going to take on responsibility, because I've seen what happens when you feel weighed down by it and ultimately feel like you want to run, and I'm not putting someone else through that. So it actually comes from a really good place. Like, they're trying to break a generational curse. I feel like that's what makes this really surprising. I don't really feel like there's any kind of bad intention here. It's not like this person is being flaky because they don't think you're amazing. They do think you're amazing. They absolutely love you. You're the kind of person they would absolutely want to be with if they were someone who had the bandwidth for long-term committed relationships. But I think because of what happened when they were young, they just don't feel like they can show up consistently and effectively for another person. Now, the reality is they could. All right. The reality is they could work through these shadows, work through this past, work through, you know, what happened to them in their youth. But they've grown addicted to negative patterns of thinking. They've grown addicted to, maybe actually have literal physical addictions, but they've definitely grown addicted to kind of a victim mentality where they don't like the idea that they are actually responsible for their lives, because it would mean that things that really hurt that they'd have to face would be true, that they had control in those situations as a grown person. But I do think there's someone who is starting to see that they have to face their demons. They have to face their shadows if they're ever going to be their truest, highest self, and if they're ever going to be with the one that they love. And again, I think it's you. Because in the upcoming future here, we do have this person stepping into King of Wands energy. Again, this person might be in Aries. It could be Leo or Sagittarius. This is fire sign energy. But the King of Wands, he's actually the spiritual father, right? He is the closest to source energy himself of the court cards and the minor arcana of the tarot. And he essentially he knows what he wants. He goes after what he wants. And he's kind of a very fun guy. He's a natural leader. He's someone who can be very generous with his time and his resources. He's someone who understands the role of passion and creativity and excitement and adventure in anything, in any kind of pursuit. And that includes long-term committed relationships. This is just someone who hasn't quite figured out how that works in a long-term committed relationship. But they're starting to discover that it could, most definitely. You know, so King of Wands energy, it's someone who, you know, they're very energetic, they're very fiery. They might even have a temper, okay? So look out for that part. Like, they're fast to anger, but they're also very fast to get over it, right? Like they'll forgive pretty easily. But because they can kind of pop off like that, it can be kind of tiring. And I think they might have had people sort of react to them before, like they're too much, you know? But I think they're starting to see these things as the strengths that they are, that they're, energetic, they're charismatic, they're someone who likes to take the lead when it comes to love, and they're someone who can keep things interesting, keep things spicy, which is incredibly important to a long-term relationship, that those are all gifts that they have. And I think they've seen them as weaknesses in the past, but they're starting to really understand, okay, I could rethink how I've been approaching love and life and this person and come at it from a totally different angle. Because we have progression here in the advice. We have the 4 of Cups reversed and the 5 of Cups reversed. So I feel like this person is energetically ready to kind of drop an addiction to a negative mindset. See, 4 of Cups is like, in the upright, it's the energy of like ennui, like just boredom. Like, like in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, a cup is being offered to a young man, and he's just like disinterested. Like, that is not what I ordered. That is not what I wanted. How dare you bring that to me? So it's a little bit of an ungrateful attitude, but it's definitely someone who they are just dissatisfied and bored with life, right? In the reverse, though, we're coming out of that. We're coming out of that boredom, and we're starting to embrace life for what it is, right? And the beauty in the various moments that we have. Now, 5 of Cups energy, that is the energy of just sorrow, loss, feeling like you're crying over spilt milk in that card, okay? But in the reverse, we're releasing that energy. I think this person's starting to work through this addiction that they have to like crying over spilt milk, holding grudges, feeling sad over things in the past. They're ready to kind of move forward and move past this childhood block that's been in the way, that's not allowed them to really pursue emotionally fulfilling connection. And not that they probably don't have good friends, they probably do, but like in a romantic way. That's been the real tough spot for them, is pursuing emotionally fulfilling, passionate, long-term, committed romantic relationships. So I do think once this person has been able to kind of do some work around their issues when it comes to romantic love, I do think you are going to be hearing from them. They really have been wanting to talk to you. I kind of started the reading with this. You're someone that, like, I think they have, like, pretend discussions with you in their head, right? They talk to you in the 5D, even when they're not talking to you in the 3D. And again, I think it's because they've realized how imbalanced things were when you guys were last in speaking terms. Like, they realized that they were behaving in a way that was immature. And for them, that flighty behavior is just a way for them to kind of maintain control. But they're ready to release it now. They're ready to move past that. They're kind of going through sort of the last realm of shadow work here. And I think their faith in love and life and commitment is being renewed here with the star. The star is a symbol that faith is alive. This wish that you've been desiring is on its way.